Mary Kelly, Circuit Clerk.
Here.
Brad Howey, Assistant State's Attorney.
Here.
Teresa Moore, Logan County Clerk here. Make a motion, entertain a motion to adopt the rules and procedures of the Electoral Board.
I make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
I have a motion to appoint Tanya Conrad as the board clerk.
Second.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. This is Tanya back here. That'll be the records clerk to record the minutes. Service of status regarding, we have proof of service on everyone except Robert Letterly. So we won't be able to hear that today. Case Management Conference for 2019 EB1, James Welchel. Statement of timelines, objection. Was filed in our office at the proper time. Mr. Welchel present? Oh, I should, sorry. Yeah. Do you mind standing or coming to the front?
Yes, sir. Just come around and sit, share the desk.
Candidate submission or denial?
You what?
Your admission or denial?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Your admission or denial of the objection?
Denial.
Do you have an attorney?
No.
Did you want to present one? Issue any subpoenas?
No.
So we'll hear the objections to your petitions. We all have a copy of them.
I have a copy.
I have a copy.
Any questions?
As far as his denials, it has to Right, I'm just going to ask then, so you're objecting to the untimely filing of your statement of economic interest statement, is that correct?
Untimely filing?
Yes, that's what the objector's petition for the nominating petitions, that's what he is stating that you failed to do.
And are you denying that?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question for the board. Were there any peremptory documents reviewed or brought forward to the board?
No, just the file,
Okay. What do you mean by the file?
just whatever.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, whatever you know.
Okay.
So do you have proof that you filed your statement of economic interest? Sorry.
Oh, hold on. I think it goes to the objector to present evidence.
Okay. Which is,
Right.
Mr. Mankin.
Mr. Mankin, do you have evidence to present to the board?
I'll give you a brief narrative. I went after the closing date that the petition could be filed for nomination to the library.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Is this your testimony? Is this what you're testifying about?
No, I'm not sure. You just want paper?
Well, do you have any evidence or testimony or witnesses to call?
I have evidence of a FOIA response from the clerk's office, which should be in your packet, I believe. Should be the fourth page.
Okay. We've received the documents, yes. Is there anything in addition to what you filed in your objection that you want to present to the board?
No.
Mr. Welch,
Yes.
is there any evidence or testimony you wish to present to the board at this time?
Well, I did come up to see the county clerk, and I asked her if I needed to file economic interest with her. And she said, no, but if you do, I'll give you a receipt. So I just filed it back down to the library, because on the previous election, that's exactly what I did before. So she gave me the impression that I did not have to file it here. I could file it with my packet.
Which packet?
The packet I turned into the library.
And did you turn the statement of economic interest in with your paperwork too?
Yes, I did.
Where did you turn it into?
I turned it into Kathy at the library.
At the library you turned it in? You did not file it with the circuit clerk here?
No.
Okay.
And if I could ask, how often do you have to file an economic interest statement?
Can't really give you legal advice on that. We're not here to answer your questions.
Right, well,
We're
I
here-
had already filed one before, and it was on file with the county clerk.
Well, when did you file with the county clerk?
Probably in May of 2018. That's approximate.
And what was the purpose of that filing?
To be on the board.
Is there anything else you'd like to say or present?
No.
Mr. Mencken, anything in response?
Yes, the statutes require that if you've previously filed an economic statement in order to retain your candidacy, or excuse me, in order to retain an office that you're already in, you're required to provide a receipt from the county clerk. If you fail to provide that receipt, the statute requires that you lose your eligibility to run for office. Now you're looking at section 10, pull it here, 10 ILCS 5/10-5 and 5 ILCS 420, which would be the specific section 5 ILCS 420/4A-106. Both of those require economic statements to be filed with the county clerk and receipts to be issued. If there's no receipt filed, then you go to the Constitution, which is Article 13, Section 2, fail to file a statement within the time prescribed, which is the closing of the nomination period. Let me find my place here. Shall result in ineligibility for or forfeiture of office. This section shall not be construed as limiting the authority of any branch of government to establish and enforce ethical standards for that branch. In the packet that every candidate to nominate was issued, there are 3 sets of instructions. Each one of them says it has to be filed with the county clerk. In addition, the second set of instructions, and it also gives the time when and where to file. File between Monday, December 10th, 2018 and Monday, December 17th, 2018. If it's not filed within that time period, it does not allow eligibility. In addition to that, you've got a statement of candidacy that every candidate signs, that Mr. Welch will sign. In that statement of candidacy, it says, and that I have filed or I will file before the close of the petition filing period a statement of economic interest as required by the Illinois Government Ethics Act. and I hereby request that my name be printed upon the official ballot for nomination and election to such office. Irregardless of whether he had a current one filed earlier in the year, he did not file a receipt, nor did he file a certified copy of an earlier one. What he filed was a completely new one, which was not filed with the county clerk within the required time period. That removes his eligibility to run for office by law. I've got, if you want cases, I've got 20 or so cases.
Not at this time. I understand. Is there anything else in response to what Mr. Vulture said?
Well, not in response to it, one thing that we've missed is that in the objection, there is also the problem of these pages not being numbered, which is another requirement by the statute. So you've got 2 pages of petitions that are not numbered. That's also been found to be a disqualification because it's required by the statutes.
Did you allege that in your objection?
If I remember correctly, yes. So you find the paragraph. It would be the second page 2 of 3 of the objection, number 2 at the top of the second page. By placing the sheets in a pile, fastening them together at one edge in a secure and suitable manner, and the sheets shall then be numbered consecutively.
I see it. Thank you. Back to Mr. Vulture. In regards to the issue of the receipt that was just brought up, did you get a copy of the receipt that was filed with the library?
No.
Okay.
Would a better question would be, did he file a receipt with the library?
No. Thank you. At this point, we can go, unless we need another hearing date.
Go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to rule on this, or do you
No.
want to bring it back? Okay.
Sir,
Sir?
Jim, will you come back up, please?
Right, we can. It's out there. At this time, I believe the board is ready to rule on this issue, on the objection that was filed on December 26, 2018. The election code does require that the filing of economic interest by the candidates, in order for any candidate to be placed on the ballot, and that the filing must be done by the end of the period for the filing of the nomination papers. And the purpose behind this statute is that the candidate should file a statement of economic interest to facilitate the public's right for information regarding financial dealings between the candidate and the unit of government in which he or she is seeking elected office. Failure to file the economic interest invalidates the nomination papers, and I find that the candidate did not file the statement of economic interest by the end of the period for the filing of the nomination papers, and I vote that the objector's objection be sustained and that the candidate not be printed on the ballot.
And I agree.
May I have to do a point of order, Chairman? if you could, since it is a public meeting, could we see a motion and a second and a proper vote? Just to avoid further potential litigation if somebody wants to take this to court. Thank you.
So your motion is to sustain.
My motion is to vote on the objection.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And then I have I previously stated my position. I vote that the objection be sustained. If there's a second.
I second it.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We do have to set another date for the issuance of a written ruling. We will come back.
Tell me to get a court date and time.
How about the first week?
And that always depends whether there's drug court. You know, there's other things
Okay.
going on, so
Sure.
I would need to.
Should be at that one on Wednesday at 11.
First floor.
We can do it right now.
I think that'll be fine. I know the date, I'll make sure we reserve it.
There's a second.
Sure.
All right, next date will be January 9th at 11 on the first floor courtroom. And that will be for issuance of the board's written decision.
First floor courtroom?
First floor courtroom.
All right.
Just take-
Thank you. Karen Horn? Again, the objection was filed in the correct instruction in the timeline.
I agree.
Does the candidate wish to admit or deny? Do you wish to present an attorney? Issue any subpoenas?
Move on to the hearing on objections to petition. Mr. Mencken, we've received your objection that was filed December 26, 2018. Is there anything in addition to your written objection that was filed you wish the board to consider?
No.
Ms. Horn, is there any evidence that you wish the board to consider?
Same thing. There's no file.
I have a question for Ms. Horn. Ms. Horn, did you file a statement of economic interest with the county clerk?
I have filed one.
Did you do that prior to the end of November 17, 2018?
What date again?
November 17, 2018.
One was filed in April when it was required by the board. And I also filed it with my petition
When did you do that?
during the filing period at the library.
Did you file it with the county clerk?
I'm assuming that it was filed with the county clerk with my petition.
Did you file it with the county clerk?
No, I did not. I got a receipt at the library.
And you filed the statement of economic interest with your nomination papers at the library?
Yes, I did.
When did you do that?
I don't know. Let me see. December 26th.
December 26th?
No. 17th. Was it 17th? Yeah. I can't. 17th. Yeah. Or was it 17th? It was the last day of filing the vote.
I have a motion to make a ruling on 2019 EB2.
I'll make that motion to rule on EB2.
Second.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
All right.
Have a motion to suspend.
Right. And I vote that we sustain the objector's objection and that the candidate not be printed on the ballot for the same reason stated in 2019 EB1.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we will set the next hearing date for our written ruling at the same date and time as 2019 EB1. January 9th, 2019, 11 a.m., first floor courtroom.
Marjorie Dyer. Petition for fire inspector office and the following name.
I agree.
Candidate's admission or denial?
Denial.
You have an attorney?
No,
Would you like to issue any subpoenas?
no.
We'll hold the hearing on objection.
Mr. Mencken, we have received your objection that was filed December 26, 2018. In addition to the objection, is there anything in addition you wish to present to the board?
No?
Ms. Dyer, is there anything you wish to present to the board?
Well, I think I understand what's going on here. All I did was file a petition to be on the board of the Atlanta Library. And I filed it the last day of on the 17th of December. I don't quite understand why the objection is being made. I don't know what I didn't do.
I believe what the objection states is that you didn't file the statement of economic interest with the county clerk
Okay,
before the end of the filing period.
okay. And that should have been done that day. I filed it with the library.
That's what the objection is.
Okay.
And do you understand what the issue is now?
I guess.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say on that issue?
I just didn't understand it had to be done other than the library. But that was taken care of. This is my first time ever being on the board, or trying to be on the board.
And you filed your petition and the statement of economic interest with the library itself?
Yeah, I did that on the day that I filed it
Did you file it with the county clerk's office?
with the librarian.
Okay.
The librarian
Good.
and board member.
Okay. So are you telling me you're telling the board that you did not file the statement of economic interest with the county clerk? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't bring it down here.
I don't have any other questions.
No questions.
I have a motion to vote?
Second. All in favor?
And again, I have the same vote that the objector's objection be sustained and the candidate not be printed on the ballot for the same reasons previously stated in this hearing, or in this meeting, I'm sorry.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Dyer.
Thank you.
Same date.
Yes, we will issue that written ruling for the same date, January 9, 2019, 11 a.m., first floor courtroom.
Robert Letterly. EB5.
Oh, let's take up 4 then still. So 2019 EB4 is Robert Letterly. He is not present and has not been served. This case needs to be continued so that proper service can be effectuated and we can set another hearing date. I suggest January 9th, 2019, 11 a.m., first floor courtroom, and we will try and effect service at that, for that date. So I have that motion to continue.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. EB5, Julie Tabor.
She withdrew her.
She withdrew, she filed to
She filed
withdraw.
with the library.
Yeah, I just got that.
Can you send us a copy?
Pardon?
Can you send us a copy of that, please? And the ruling states that she withdrew her candidacy.
Okay. I understand the board's received information that the candidate has removed her candidacy.
The providers.
Is this then set over till next week to show that that's been officially withdrawn?
So I make a motion to continue 2019 EB5 to January 9, 2019, 11 a.m., first floor courtroom, so the board can receive proof in the meantime that that candidacy has withdrawn her candidacy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Randy Brooks. Objection filed in the timely manner.
I agree.
Candidates admission or denial?
Denial?
Do you have an attorney? Would you like to issue any subpoenas? We'll continue with the hearing.
Mr. Mencken, the board has received your objection that was filed December 26, 2018. In addition to the petition, is there anything you wish the board to consider?
No.
Mr. Brooks, is there anything you wish the board to consider?
I have a statement I'd like to read. May I do that?
You may.
We had stated, as we believed we were following proper procedure based on the instructions of the local election official, who explained to us that we could file our statements of economic interest with her. Based on the exceptions she cited in her testimony, if she ever has one here,
We also followed past practice as accepted by the previous clerks at the library and clerks here at the county. We believe that the issues cited by Mr. Minkin are not sufficiently substantive to deny any of our access to the ballot, and as a result, our inherent right to run for public office. In some cases, for example, whether or not statements of economic interest were dated or whether packets were stapled together, the challenges were simply incorrect. We further believe that we are in substantial compliance with the intent of the law to ensure the public's right to information, including the requirements to provide current statements of economic interest and to have them available to the public at all times. As demonstrated, these statements were and are in fact available at both the library and at the clerk's office, and there is no danger that members of the public would have difficulty locating them. The information in the valid statements that have been on file with the clerk since April and the information in the most recent statement submitted in December are identical. And so the public was never deprived of accessing or evaluating the information contained in them. In fact, our statements of economic interest were and are more easily obtained by the public than Mr. Minkin's, given that originals are on file with the clerk and at a copy of the library. While Mr. Minkin's petition documents may be obtained at the library, a member of the public would have to then go to the clerk's office to obtain his economic statement of interest. Same is true for the people who made FOIA requests and for all submitted petitions. Since the only copies of economic interest statements that they received were their request, with their requests were ours. If they wanted more information about our candidates' economic interest, they would have had to then contact the clerk's office. In Atkinson versus Roddy, 2013, IL 2D 130139, the defendant mistakenly filed a statement of economic interest in the wrong location, but had a receipt indicating where that statement could be found. Even if we filed our statements in the wrong location, we too can demonstrate that our signed receipts from the library district where our statements of economic interest may be obtained. Atkinson versus Roddy states, it is well established in cases concerning the right to access a place on the ballot, substantial compliance can satisfy the requirements of a mandatory provision of the election code. We believe we have demonstrated substantial compliance, and we assert that deny us access to the ballot would interfere with our rights and would deprive the citizens of our district of their own right as voters to evaluate the various points of view expressed by all candidates and to make an informed decision about how the library district can best achieve its mission in service to the taxpayers as they are elected. Thank you very much.
How do you spell Atkins? Is it A-T?
Atkinson.
A-T-K-I-N-S-O-N?
A-T-K-I-N-S-O-N.
And then Rowdy?
Roddy, R-O-D-D-Y,
All right, and what was the citation number again?
2013, IL 2D,
D as in dog?
D as in dog, 130139.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else you wish to present to the board?
I noticed your statement does not have a date next to it. You have your signature, but you did not date it.
Failed to date it, I missed that when I was filling out the forms.
Mr. Minkin, do you have anything to say in response?
Yes, so essentially, Mr. Brooks is stating that he filed a new economic statement only with the library, not with the county clerk, which is required by statute. I will give you rather large number of copies of similar cases where they've all been sustained to the objector. The laws, which is 420 4A106 is specific in that case that it has to be filed, and so is the 10-5. And I can give you copies of those if you'd like. The Constitution of the State of Illinois states, failure to file a statement within the time prescribed shall result in ineligibility for or forfeiture of office. He stated that he did not file with the county clerk. The instructions in the packet, which there are 3 sets, one of which he signed, specifically state that he will file prior to the close of the nomination. The initial instructions also give the date of closing and that it has to be filed with the county clerk. In addition to that, at the top of the statement of economic interest to be filed with the county clerk, excuse me, are the instructions, statement to be filed with the county clerk. He's admitted he did not file with the county clerk. The statute is specific, it must be filed with the county clerk.
And, sorry to interrupt you, I'll give you time again, but just for the record, so it's clear for the reporting, you had just handed the board
It's in the packet.
part of the objection that we already had, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And also for the reporting, you gave the board several cases.
And if you'd like, we can continue it and I can give you a couple dozen more.
I just want to put on through the record what they are real quick, and then we'll come back. Looks like it. First one was the County of Cook County nomination papers. The objection of Irene Smith to nomination papers of Keith Keisel, KY-SEL, 95 EB ALD 11. Also handed the board matters of Christopher Persons and Susan Henning. Looks like another City of Chicago case, 2007 EB ALD 50. Also handed the board objection of Regina Woods to nomination papers of Dennis Patrick Healy, City of Chicago, 2003 EB ALD 23. Handed us a decision based on the objection of Darlene Brewington, BREWINGTON, to the nomination papers of Shirley Coleman, 91 EB ALD 127. Also handed the board decision, the objection of Vanessa Richardson to the nomination of OL West, 91 EB ALD 16. Also handed the board, Cook County again, Eric Carlson objecting to James A. Nowacki, NOWACKI, 87 EB ALD 108. Cook County case decision, objection of George Hefner to the petition of Donald L. Sharp, 87 EB ALD 115. Also handed the board objection of Mary Pascenti, PASCENTE, to the nomination of Nathaniel Carothers, CAROTHERS, 94 EB RES 2. And Mr. Macon, do you wish the board to consider all the rest that you've handed, or?
I would like you
All
to,
of it.
but I will leave that to your discretion. I believe that the statutes are clear.
Is there?
Well, let me object further to the statement. He states that they would be available at the library board. If you go through the election code, you'll note that the library is only required to keep those statements to candidate for 6 months. And the fact that you have 2 separate statements of candidates, or excuse me, economic statements, raise serious questions. You could file a separate, with that setup, that structure, you could file a separate statement of economics at the library, significantly differing and not legal than what's filed at the county. So if someone went in and did an examination, you could have two complete separate sets of statements. In this case, what was filed was a new statement, undated. It does not match what's in the county clerk's because you did not go to the county clerk and get what was required.
As for the decisions that you hand the board, it's decisions that I have not stated on the record any different from what you've
No.
handed us, then I'm just going to take what we've already put in the record, and I'll hand you back. Back to Mr. Brooks. Anything in response?
No.
I am familiar with Atkinson versus Roddy. I have a brief from that. In that case, the candidate who erroneously filed her statement of economic interest with the clerk of the county in which she lived rather than the county in which the village principal office was located substantially complied with the application of the election code and the government ethics code. That's the case that Mr. Brooks has cited. And that case is distinguished, in my opinion, that the candidate filed a statement of economic interest in the wrong county rather than in
But with the
with
correct.
with the library, which is, I think, a distinguishing factor in this case.
She filed it in the wrong county from where the district was that she should have filed it.
Yes, in Atkinson versus Rowdy, the candidate filed the statement of economic interest in the county which she lives as opposed to the office where she was seeking.
Was she eligible for that other office? So it was a multi-county structure?
Yes,
That I do not know.
yes, it was.
In a multi-county structure, she would have been legal doing that
In that decision, they said she was in substantial compliance with that.
because it most likely was a multi-county structure. In this case, we do not have that question. The library is not authorized, only the county clerk is authorized to accept these.
And I have a motion to make a ruling.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And is my vote that my motion that the objection be sustained, that the candidate not be printed on the ballot for reasons previously stated during this meeting?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
And the board will continue this matter to January 9th at 11 a.m. on the first floor for a written decision.
Public comment?
I just have one quick comment. My name's Kirk Allen.
I'm sorry.
There's a 2-minute time limit, so.
All right, thank you. I won't take 2 minutes. I just wanted to say thank you, and no matter what side of the aisle you're on this today, this is called civic engagement. And my hat's off to you folks. I understand it's your first petition hearing for the county. My hat's off to you. It's a learning curve, and thank you for following the rule of law. And I look forward to being able to report that's exactly what you did. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.